Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Marlon Bowling with you. And, well, we've been keeping a close eye on this market action here today, and it has been something to behold. They've been chopping around all over the place on the grain markets here, especially on soybeans. Now, before we get too deep into this, just wanted to remind you, in case you hadn't heard this morning, we had an overnight sale of some soybeans, and we had an overnight sale of some corn as well. So both cases, they were to the unknown destination category again. Soybean sale, 130,000 tons. The corn sale was 100,000 tons even. So not overly big, but, you know, we'll welcome any sales that we can get. So that's several now since late last week. Okay, let's go to the board. See what's going on right now with up-to-the-minute quotes provided by Bar Chart. March corn can't decide which way it wants to go. Right now, it's on the plus side by one whole tick. It's 1/4 cent higher at 6.77 1/4, and December new crop corn gaining 1/2 cent at 5.91 3/4. The entire trading range, the entire range on December is only about 4 cents wide here today from the top to the bottom. Now, on the soybeans, though, that's a whole different story. We started out and we had pretty severe pressure. We had March soybeans going as low as 14.78 1/4, and now they're at 14.97 1/2. They got within a penny and a half of hitting $15, believe it or not. Right now, we're 9 cents higher on the day. We're about 2.5 cents away from that $15 benchmark. The July contract is up 8 1/4 right now. If you look at new crop November soybeans, they're 5.5 higher at 13.43 1/2. But there again, that has been a very choppy affair. Now, on the wheat market, they act pretty positive today. In Chicago, we have March gaining 8 1/4 at 7.42 3/4. In July, we're 7 higher this morning. Kansas City wheat, the March contract is gaining 14 cents, and July is up 11 1/2. Spring wheat trade in Minneapolis, March 6 1/4 higher at 9.09 1/4, and that July is 4.5 cents higher. We talked about cotton following the lead of the grains today. Right now, it's pretty flat. March is just 2 points higher at 86.26. December, oh boy, 1 point higher at 85.14. And I say that, and then March goes 1 point lower. Todd Bubba Horowitz is with us right now. He's with BubbaTrading.com. Right now, he's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Choppiness, the word of the day here, Todd. So are we accomplishing anything or just kind of spinning our wheels?
We're kind of the mouse on the wheel in the cage, just running around in circles. And, you know, they sell them off down to support. They buy them back up into resistance. And that has been the formula the last, I don't know, 7-8 months, basically. You know, we cannot seem to get any market to break out and trend in either direction. And I think if you look at the grain markets, the favorability is going to be to the upside when it finally decides to break out. I mean, you know, corn seems to have found a solid bottom in around 6.50. You know, wheat is $7, and soybeans around 14.50. And I think that these are the lows. I don't think we're going to go any lower than those types of prices. I think you're going to look to see much higher prices when they do finally, you know, break out. But you know, the malaise in all markets right now is as bad as I've seen it in 44 years. There is virtually no action anywhere, and we just keep chirping back and forth between, you know, it's like torn between two lovers, Marlon. It refuses to go anywhere. And eventually we will break out of these tight ranges, and they will make a move. And to me, the favorability is in the grains to go much higher.
So what's your take on the news coming out of South America? It sounds like weather is improving for Argentina a little bit. Still looking at a pretty big crop coming out of Brazil, though, on soybeans and maybe even safrinha corn. What do you think?
Well, I think it really does not have an effect or direct on us at the moment. I mean, we're kind of thin as it is with a lack of enough inventory and for demand. And you know, obviously what has held some demand down is, you know, the high cost of everything. I mean, from taking cattle to slaughter early, which is taking away feed from people going out to eat, and you know, and cutting down on their budgets. But I think that will turn. And you know, again, I think there is a general shortage pretty much across the board out there, and you know, we have to continue to watch that.
Well, Todd, we'll take a look at our livestock trade in just a moment. Our guest is Todd Bubba Horowitz, and we'll have more with Todd right after this. In general, the livestock trade today has been kind of on the weak side. And we'll take a quick look at the prices here right now with our quotes provided by Bar Chart. We'll start with our live cattle board. Down 42 cents on April at 160.87, so it's kind of held steady there for a while. March feeders currently down 35 at 183.25, so they're not doing anything. And if you look at lean hogs, well, we're 72 lower in the April contract at 84.65. The deferred's not quite as weak in the knees there, but let's go back to Todd Bubba Horowitz here, BubbaTrading.com. The livestock trade not really doing much of anything here today. What's it waiting on?
Well, I think they're all intermixed here, Marlon, from a crude oil standpoint. If crude is lower, it makes cattle more valuable because people are paying less at the pump. And as crude gets more expensive, it brings back hogs into play. And it's just a question of which protein. But it looks to me, I don't think they're going dramatically higher. I don't think they're going dramatically lower. I think they're going to continue to trade in this band based on the other components that come into either a family budget or a farming budget, depending on what you have to do, for feed and for everything else. And as we sit in these malaise periods, I don't think there's a dramatic amount on the upside. I think the bias in the meats is higher. However, I don't think that it has a lot of room to run versus, like I see the grains have a lot of room to go much, much higher.
On the lean hog chart, if you look at a 6-month chart there, it looks like it's trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel on the last few days here. It
looks pretty bad, and it's funny. It's not funny, but it looks to me like if you were going to take a shot, this would be a good place to step in. I mean, the Fed prices are now lower than where December was, which is almost it may be an anomaly that has never happened before. So I think that I think hogs do have room to run, and I think that the economy and everything else is more favorable to the hog market going into the future.
Todd, great to talk with you again. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Todd Bubba Horowitz at BubbaTrading.com with us here this morning. Tammy, that's a look at our markets. Back to you.